Welcome back. Now, Limpopo Premier Stanley Mathabatha says that over the past 30 years, the province has transformed and developed in critical areas, including its economy. Delivering the State of the Province address on the 29th of February, Premier Mathabatha said that the past 30 years has also ensured that the provision of public goods and services like water, electricity, roads, education, health and homes for the people of Limpopo has taken place. Now, he's also said that Limpopo is in the top 3 provinces that have shown rising employment in recent years. Now, as we continue with these conversations with the country's premiers from the SABC, we are now joined by Premier Stanley Mathabatha in his Limpopo office. Premier, thanks so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Sakina, and good morning to your viewers.
Premier, let's just start, where you opened your State of the Province address and your opening words. You said that you were grateful for the transformation and renewal of the province, citing that the province is no longer under administration and that bad audits are a thing of the past. Let's talk about socioeconomic changes that the public has undergone in Limpopo under your tenure.
Yes, you are very right, Sakina. Remember when you interviewed me, I think it was in 2014 or 2015, when our government was actually under, 5 government departments were under administration. And I said to you, you said, how are you going to get out of this quagmire, sort of? I'm using my words now. So I said to you that we are going to start by stabilizing the administration, and we are going to do that by virtue of making sure that we build systems, we put systems in place. And you said, what do you mean by putting systems in place? I think currently, if you come to Limpopo today, you'll realize what I meant. We've got a stable administration in Limpopo today. We've got highly improved financial systems in this province. Even our audit results have improved drastically. We proud ourselves as a province, as a disclaimer-free province. You remember at some stage we had almost 60% of our audits were disclaimer audit opinion, and we said we must eliminate, in fact we must eradicate this thing. So today as Limpopo we don't have any provincial entity which has a disclaimer audit opinion. We don't have any provincial entity which have an adverse disclaimer audit opinion also. We start from qualified, unqualified and clean. So we're no longer talking about those disclaimer audit. We are a disclaimer-free province, including municipalities. We don't even have a single municipality today that has a disclaimer audit opinion, because as a provincial government, what we did at that time when we started, when we realized that we are unable to attract skill in rural municipalities, we then built what we called a professional hub within the Department of Treasury, Provincial Treasury in this province. So that professional hub was assisting municipalities in terms of building their finance management systems. That is why you see the financials of our municipalities are increasing. Sakina, if you come to Limpopo today, you hardly find a mud house, which was a common feature prior to 1994. People are now building beautiful houses in this province. So to such an extent that sometimes you even ask yourself which one is a rural village, which one is a township. We have successfully used commercial means of eliminating mud houses in our province. Sakina, if you came to our province in prior to 1994, for example, you would find that less than 38% of our people had access to water. But currently, I think it was 2010, in 2010, we were almost at 87% when it comes to water provision. Yes, we have declined. Now we are at about 69%. But this is mainly, it does not necessarily mean that we reduced or we lowered the bar. It is mainly because of the population explosion, the increase in our population. At some stage, at that time, when 2010, I think we were at about 911,000 households in this province. Today, we have doubled that. We are at about 1.8 million households in this province. So that in itself says we must also increase when it comes to the issue of provision of water. The same thing applies to electricity, Sakina. We are currently at 95% provision to our people of electricity to our people, which prior to 1994 was less than 58%, much lower than 58%, because that time prior to 1994 it was only in big townships and towns and in white areas where you would get electricity. But today, even in rural villages in this province, you've got electricity. Sakina, prior to 1994, you only had one tarred road in the whole of Sekhukhune, for example. I'm just making an example with Sekhukhune, maybe because that's my home region. But that applies to other regions also, the other 4 regions in the province. You had only one tarred road in Sekhukhune, but today almost every village has an access tarred road. You had, prior to 1994, Sakina, less than 6 high schools, in fact, about 8, less than 8 high schools, which were boarding schools, in fact, in Sekhukhune. Today, every village has got a primary school, has got a secondary school. We even have TVET colleges in almost all the regions of our province. So
okay.
I think if you want me to go on and go on, I can go on, but
no. Let's not do that.
A lot of your time.
Let's drill down into some of those achievements, as notable as they are. And let's start with the audit outcomes, Premier Mathabatha.
Yes.
And if we go back to the 2022 financial year, as you rightly point out, even the Auditor General found notable improvement in the audit outcomes for the Limpopo province, but she did raise a concern about almost R1 billion that was spent on consultants by municipalities. How has that situation improved?
Consultants, yes. We declared war on disclaimers. When we met in our IGF, Provincial Intergovernmental Forum, we emphasized this matter, that we must make sure that we reduce the usage of consultants with 60% in the coming midterm period. That we can only do if also that professional hub in Treasury is going to help the municipalities to make sure that they build capacity within themselves. If they use consultants, they must use consultants to come and build capacity rather than to do the work that is supposed to be done by municipal officials and CFOs of departments and provincial entities.
So what is the improvement that you've noted, percentage-wise, if you will, Mr. Premier?
Like I said, remember that was set in 2022. We only had one financial year, that is 2023. We're still waiting for 2024.
Yeah, yes. But in that 1 year, Mr.
The
Premier,
improvement is not yet that notable. The improvement is not yet that notable. Remember, here you're talking about development of skills, Sakin, which will take, hence I put 3 years to it. Because I know that in 1 year you can't deal with that thing and conclusively.
Yeah, you may say that, Mr. Premier, but of course the reality is that you have people in those municipalities that are actually getting paid to do the work that they then outsource to consultants. So how is that fair to the taxpayer? How is that fair to the residents?
That is why I say we have declared war on that thing, because we want to reduce it, if possible, eradicate it altogether.
Indeed, you might as well appoint the consultants
well. If yes, yes, maybe. That will mean that we are privatizing some of the services of,
but you're already
of the
doing
provincial
so.
government and the municipalities. But what I'm trying to say, Sakina, to you is that Rome was not built in one day. What I'm saying is that there is still a lot of things that we still have to do, but there is a lot that we have already done.
All right.
And you can't do everything at the same time. But that task, that responsibility, perhaps one should leave it to the 7th administration. I think what I was supposed to do in this 6th administration, I've done it, in fact, more than what I expected to do.
Well, let's continue to check on that, Mr. Premier, because that you've now kicked down the road. But if we look at also the unspent funds, infrastructure development funds that have been returned to the fiscus, this while you have people in your province who don't have water as a basic right. How do you explain that?
Sakina, let's take this financial year, 2022-2023. The expenditure of our province was more than 98%. And beyond the national norm, because basically what we did not spend was about 1.7%. And the national norm is 2%. So we haven't returned anything to National Treasury, Sakina, like people are punting wrong and false information out there. We haven't returned anything to National Treasury. Everything that we did not spend, which is this 1.7%, out of 70 billion rands, is only 1.7% that was not spent. And this 1.7% is still within our coffers. Sakina, to add a feather to our cap, we even received extra 256 million rands from that was taken away from the government of the Western Cape to Limpopo for human settlement, because we had spent everything. We were spending properly. The National Department of Human Settlement had to take that money and bring it to Limpopo, because here it will be put to good use.
So you're saying the Auditor General's report then is incorrect, because it's that same report that I was quoting earlier, and it said that municipalities also had to return unspent funds earmarked for infrastructure development, which further hindered a service delivery. Are you saying the Auditor General's report is incorrect in that regard?
I thought we were still at provincial entities. You did not tell me that we are now talking about municipalities. Yeah. With municipality, remember, Sakina, municipalities are a different sphere of government. But like I said, where there is no capacity, the provincial government is assisting municipalities to build capacity. They've got what they call municipal infrastructure grant, which in the past, the municipalities were not using it for the right purposes. But the reason why you see today their financials increasing is because they are starting to spend on municipal infrastructure grant. If you can check as to what you are saying currently, what the Auditor General is saying, which is correct, what is the Auditor General is saying currently, if you can check that and check again, Sakina, as to what was the case in the past 10, 15 years, in the past, in fact, 5, 10, 15 years, you would see that there is a vast improvement with municipalities spending their municipal infrastructure or all their conditional grants.
Premier, let me quickly ask you, we're running out of time, but I have to ask you about the water projects in your province, and especially the bulk water reticulation projects, Giyani Water Project, meant to reticulate 55 villages. How many of those 55 villages currently receive water from this project?
That project, Sakina, as you would know, was marred with lots and lots of problems. Hence, the SIU and the Hawks are busy investigating a number of people who were involved, the contractors and other people who were involved in that project. But thanks to Minister Mkunu, currently the project has now been resuscitated. To such an extent that we were promised that within 2 months, about 33 of those villages would be getting water. That's the promise that we got. But remember, Sakina, provincial governments don't have what we would call authority. We are not water. We don't have competence in water. The competence in water, the authority of water, is in local government and the national government.
Yeah, fair enough, but you are, of course, the Premier and you have oversight of the province. So 55 villages, and it's almost a decade on, and yet, and I remember some time ago, there was an oversight visit from the Portfolio Committee, and they found that even then it was overstated. I think at that point it was said about 32 of the villages had access to water, and when they went in, they actually found that not to be the case. So should we take your word for it now that 34 of the villages actually have water?
You know, Sakina, the beauty about this ANC government is that it put in place instruments to assist us in dealing with some of this rot that you are talking about. Hence, I mentioned that the SIU and the Hawks are actually investigating all these things that you are mentioning about the Giyani project, because that project did not go well. You know, it was marred with problems. But currently, the National Department of Water and Sanitation is assuring us that within 2 months, about 33 villages will be getting water there. I am getting information because I'm talking here, Sakina, about things that I cannot control. Some entities of government are controlling those things. So,
but that would then go for anything else that happens.
I can just tell you what I'm told.
Yes, but then you were telling us about the good story at the beginning, Premier Mathabatha, about the roads network, and you were claiming those.
Yes.
So equally, you need to claim the ones that are not going so well, like that bulk water project. It's about a decade in the making. It's ballooned from 90 million rand, I think was the initial cost, to now 4.1 billion rand.
I totally what is that?
I'm saying that project it's gone from 90 million initially to now 4.1 billion rand, according to the SIU.
Well, what I can do, Sakina, is to take collective accountability, simply because this was done by government entity, and I'm also working for government. That collective responsibility, I'm very, very, very free to take. But what I was saying, Sakina, is that it was not my direct responsibility.
All right, fair enough.
Because there are spheres in this government. There are 3 spheres of government.
Mr. Mathabatha, I thank you for your time. Thanks so much for speaking to us this morning. Stanley Mathabatha is the Premier of the province of Limpopo.
Thank you very much, Sakina.
Thank you so much, Mr. Premier. And that, of course, as we continue unpacking the state of the province addresses with most of our, if all of our premiers in the 9 provinces.